I get a lot of questions through my channel and through my Facebook and through email. Is my fermentation still safe? And what is that stuff on the top? There's a bit of growth going on. Is this still healthy? Should I throw it away? This video, I aim to answer most of those questions. So join me right after this. Today we're going to be looking at a few of the fermentations I have on the go at the moment. I have about 6 different ones here, and they all have little problems or little issues that you might have noticed on your own fermentations. Some worse than others, but I'm also going to show you which ones are most likely safe and which ones you probably shouldn't carry on with. We're going to start off with this one over here. Now, this is an extremely hot sauce, so I'm not going to give away what these sauces are and what peppers are inside because it's for a future video and I don't want to spoil it and spoil the fun. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see what this actually is going to end up being. Now, I am going to open this up. I don't suggest doing that too often when you're making a fermentation, unless, like a couple of the others I'm going to show you today, you might need to for those types. But for this one here, I typically wouldn't actually open it up, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to do it. So let me open this up. I'm trying to be as careful as I can because I don't want to introduce any bad bacteria into this. So I'm just going to undo that. And before I put it anywhere, I've got a sanitizer here. I'm just going to make sure that when I put this down on the board that I'm not going to be introducing any bad bacteria or anything like that. So, wow. Holy. Sorry, that is hot. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be an insane sauce. So if you have a look in here, there is a bit of fluff. If you look over there, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. This sauce I started on the 21st of October, and it's been going now obviously a while. It is the 3rd of November now, so it's been going a little while. The fermentation has properly kicked in. I've seen this thing bubbling away. It is doing a great job. So I'm not too fussed about keeping the stuff underneath the brine anymore because it's going to be quite healthy as it is. It's going to be quite acidic. I'm actually going to take out this courgette. So be careful when you do this. I do this normally. Oh God, I'm touching this and it's going to be so hot. So I'm just going to put that aside. Let's actually, let me just cover this over for the moment and let's have a look at this. So if we have a look, this is what was on top. I'm very careful here because like I said, these peppers are so hot and I'm just going to burn my fingers here. That there is not very healthy at the top. You can see that. But if we flip it over, there's a bit of a pepper there. Do you see the difference in color? Do you see that bright color? And that's actually a very good indication. You can see here, this not great, and I'm glad I've taken it out now. But this was above the brine level, and I'm not sure. I hope you can make it out on the video. And you can see the difference. So this here, I'd be happy to eat that. I wouldn't because it'll burn and it's very hot, and I'm not going to be doing that today. But that there is looking so healthy, and that is a perfectly fermented bit of courgette. Look at the difference in color. That there looking healthy, perfectly nice, and that there looking manky. This is the top bit. I'm going to put the spoon aside. We're going to get a new one because obviously I've been touching things that I don't want to be touching into my fermentation. So let's take a look in there. That is looking pretty damn good. There's no funky stuff in there. There's a little bit of white mold on the inside. I don't know if you can make that out there. A bit of calm yeast, that's what that would be. So I'm going to wipe that out a little bit just on the lid. It's not essential. Like I said, there's so much acid in here now. This has been going for more than 2 weeks. Let me put the lid on and I'll show you something. So this is a common question I get. Hopefully you can make that out. That is perfectly normal. That's probably the most common thing I get asked. What's this white stuff settling on the bottom? Perfectly normal. Don't stress about that at all. It's a combination of a few things. It's going to be some dead bacteria, so dead lactobacillus or dormant lactobacillus. It's going to be a few other things, but like I said, perfectly safe. As long as the fermentation is going right, then you should have no problem. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to give this a bit of a stir. So I want to coat anything on the top with some more of this liquid. And you can see there it's pushing the air out, the CO2. And hopefully it's going to be fermenting a little bit more. That is looking healthy. And we're going to put that aside. Let's take a look at a mash and see what that looks like. Now I've got two here. These are two mashes I'm doing for a whole year, right? So you're not going to see the actual finished product for an entire year, but this is a bit of a sneak peek. I'll probably be finishing this up in about September or October next year. So we have a look at this. We can see inside there is a little bit of white, but if we have a look at the other one, we see there's a bit more going on in there. So let's have a look. Let's look at the one that doesn't look too bad at the moment. This will be a typical as well, especially in the first few days. You're going to expect to see a little bit of this growth. Now, that's not ideal, and what I can do, either you can stir it in, that's one way, if it's only a little bit of growth. What I'm going to do is just scrape off this layer. So that layer that you see me scraping off, that is calm yeast. I'm being careful about it, but there we go. I'm going to take that and bin that. Underneath, you see that bright orange, the bright red. These peppers are fermenting just perfectly. I'm going to put the lid back on because, again, I don't want to introduce too much oxygen. And we're going to put that aside. Let's have a look at this one. This one's not going to look as nice. So there, again, white. Mostly white on the inside. Let me just wipe this spoon. So this here, again, it's a bit of a calm yeast layer. Do you see, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. It sort of breaks that layer. And it's the layer that's exposed to the air. I'm just scraping it off and I'm getting rid of it. So there we go. That's the calm yeast, or the layer of muck that we don't want on there. And there we go. More concerning is when you see things like this. If you look on the edge, that dark. Again, I'm not too worried. Like I said, this fermentation is doing very well. The reason I know that, you can see the bubbles that are being created on the sides. Lots of bubbles, and this is really doing well. You can also test this with a pH meter. I would recommend get yourself a pH meter. I'll leave links below for the two that I use. There's this one here, which is the cheaper one, and there's nothing wrong with this whatsoever, especially if you're not making as many hot sauces as I'm making. You'll get away just fine with this. Maybe replace it once every 1.5 to 2 years. This one is about $10. This one here is about $30, $35. Because of the amount of sauces I make, I wanted something that just gives me a bit of a better experience. What I want to do, I'd rather not have this dark stuff on the edges. So I'm going to give that a bit of a wipe. See that dark? That's not great, but again, I'm not too fussed because that's above the sauce. As long as you're not mixing that into the sauce, then you won't have a problem. There we go. And that's all healthy again. This here is another sauce that I have probably another week to go before I can finish it up, but it's a really cool sauce. I'm really excited about it. But let's have a look inside here. There's a few things that are quite interesting with this one. This here is a mash. And if you look how much liquid there is at the bottom there, I actually would probably give this a bit of a stir now. And I have another clean spoon to do that. But if we have a look on the top, I can see it's bubbling away. This is a very active fermentation. So this here is bubbling away nicely. Typically, I wouldn't be opening this up before I was going to make my sauce, but I'm doing it for you guys for this video. Oh, the flavors, the smell. This is going to be such a good sauce. I wish I could tell you what's in it. It's just, oh man, I'm excited about this one. So actually, this one doesn't look too bad. Do you see there just in front of the tip of the spoon, that little bit of white? Just there, that little bit of white. Again, a bit of growth, nothing to worry about at all. And I'm just going to stir that straight in. I'm not taking it out. I'm not going to be taking it out of this. But I'm just going to give this a bit of a stir. Look at the liquid from underneath, all the brine that gets generated when you make a mash. Oh, the smells. This is going to be so good. So I'm just stirring it all in. When you have a bit of white on the top, If you are doing a mash like this, if you're going to be using even a small jar, just give it a bit of a stir that stuff in. If you have a big old layer on the top like you saw with my previous jars, then I would probably recommend just scraping that off and getting rid of it. So something I keep mentioning here is the smell. The smell here is amazing, and it should be. If the smell's bad, if it smells funky, get rid. Don't take a chance. But the smells here should be beautiful, floral. It should smell of the things you've got in there. If you've got garlic, if you've got sweet peppers, whatever you have in there, make sure that's the smells that you're getting. And also that bit of a tang smell, so like a vinegar type smell. If you get a putrid smell or anything like that, you don't want to play with that. Just get rid of that. All of these that I've opened, even the ones that looked a bit funky, they smell okay. Now, I can't say that that is going to be what the next ones are going to be like. These next ones, they're something else. I've been hanging on to these for a while because I knew I was going to make a video like this, and I needed to show you what a bad fermentation looks like. This is from October last year, so this has been going for a year now. And this one over here, at the same time, actually this one's a bit longer. This one's August 2017. So this one here I think is the most worrisome. And the reason why is, have a look at that stuff, that growth that's coming down. I'm going to see what the smell's like. I haven't opened these yet. Yeah, that does not smell good. When I took these off the shelf, I actually thought, yeah, I could probably scrape the top off or something, but there's no way I'm taking a chance with this. This smells really bad. Oh gosh, that looks rank. The thing is, the peppers underneath, that I've just scraped up, is probably all right. But it's just not worth the risk. When you see that black stuff on the top, and there's a little bit of like a greeny, oily stuff on there, bin it. Don't take a chance. And especially, the big one for me is the smell. If that doesn't smell right, it isn't right. Just get rid. And now it's time for this other one. This one here looks like it's growing its own little ecosystem in here. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I'm in two minds with this because that looks a little bit like a calm yeast layer. However, the growth that I'm seeing over here on the edges, I don't like that. Yeah, so that there, that's a typical calm yeast layer. That there is fine. I think that part's fine, but I can see that this green stuff, this, I have no idea what it is. I ain't going to be playing with it. So this sauce as well is going to go. There's no way I'm keeping that. That just looks rank. It's a shame. It would have been interesting to see how this turned out. I didn't actually smell it. Actually, it doesn't smell too bad, but again, I'm not taking a risk. You know, I have enough sauces and peppers. I don't feel like dying because of one of them. But if it looks manky like that, if it smells bad, just get rid of it. Be safe. And like I said as well, get yourself a pH meter, see what the acidity is of these. Learn how to use a pH meter. I think that might be a future video that I should make, showing you how to use a pH meter, how to look after it, how to clean it. I'm going to go take my healthy fermentations and stick them back into the fermentator and let them carry on fermenting to get ready for a future sauce video for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps me out and helps my channel out. Also, check out my Patreon page. There's a link down below and have a look. There might be something of interest in there for you. And until the next video, bye-bye for now.